she goes rolling by. And when I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times do I crave. Just place a stone at my head and feet and tell my friends I've gone to sleep.
And I rang a shed or two where the police was tough as glue, and I tell you what, I struck the hardest tack. I was down Willander Way, I'm passing time away, waiting for the big sheds further out, when I struck a bloke by chance, who I summed up at a glance as a cocky from the vineyard roundabout. Now it seems he struck me too, wasn't hard to do, for I had big tongs hanging at me ear. He said, I've got a mob, he said, I'm on about 200 head and I'll give a £10 note to have the clip. Hey, I said, I'll take that standing, it meant getting in me hand. And by 9 o'clock we rounded up the mob in a shed sunk in the ground with wine casks all around. And it was there I started on my arduous job. I goes easy for a bit while the hand is getting fit, and by 12 o'clock we'd done some half a score, with a cocky picking up and handing me a cup at the pinky after every sheep I shot. Now the cocky had to go away around about the 7th day, after showing me the kinds of casts to use, and then I'd do the picking up and I'd manipulate that cup just strolling round them wine casks just to pick and choose. And then I'd stagger to the pen and I'd grab a sheep and start again, with a noise between a hiccup and a sob. And sometimes I'd fall asleep with my arms around the sheep, worn and weary from my over-arduous job. And so 6 weeks went by until one day with a sigh I pushed the dear old cobbler through the door, gathered in the cockie's pay and staggered on my way from the hardest bloody shed I've ever shot. That's it. No punchline. No punchline.
Miles and I crossed a few styles. I've been round the world there and back, but one place I struck between here and hard luck. They stung me for 5 and a zack. Now the timekeeper there with his sanctified ears, a Salvation Army Lance Jack, on his cornet he'll bleat as he stands in the street. And he stung me for 5 and a zack. Well, the job's at an end. I'm camped on the pen and I hate the whole duck-shoving pack. It's not that I'm broke or in need of a smoke, but they stung me for 5 and a zack. Well, may that timekeeper stand with the Salvation Army band and blow till his eyeballs turn black. May each note from his cornet turn into a hornet and sting him for 5 and a zack. When my time comes, I'll go to hell down below. I never intend to come back. And on my tombstone you'll find these words underlined. They stung me for 5 and a zack. Thank you.
Because of governments like we've got at the moment, I suppose. He goes, Robert had never robbed a bank before, but now hope was lying there. For 10 years of unemployment had finally blown Robert's conscience in his head. And so with shopping bag and hood in banking line, he nervous stood, clutching a scrawly note that rather illegibly read, by the teller, "Fellow, this is a boulder. Fill up the hag with money, or I'll flow you away at your first move money. Yours sincerely, Robert," it said. Well, the teller raised an eyebrow and asked to see Robert's gun. And Robert confessed sadly that he couldn't afford to carry one. Then he'd whack off Robert, the teller laughed. What a complete clown you are. Next time you'd better bring a gun, son, you feather boy in galah. The end of the man, he said he quit the bank. He thought this mobbing racket wank. To solve his liquidity problem, he thought for a while. Oh, you're weaker. An idea comes and he slipped hotly puts it down to Bunnings, and then once again with shopping bag and hood in banking line, he more confident stood. Still clutching that scrawly note that's still rather illegibly read by the teller. "Hello, this is a solder. Fill up the hag with money and I'll flow you away at first move money. Yours sincerely, Robert, it said. Well, the teller raised another eyebrow, and he asked to see once again Robert's gun, and once again Robert confessed that he just couldn't afford to carry one. And once again the embryonic bandy was contemptuously dismissed. I said, whack up, you stargalar, and was Wobber the Wobber pissed. He extracted from his trouser leg a length of timber 2x4. There's one slipped down, a rather sickening crunchy sound, and the teller slid slowly to the floor. Laughing, ha ha ha! Robert lively left the counter, no more for money to beg. He was filling his bag with money when he felt a hand clutching at his leg. There lay the stricken teller with one eye popped upon his cheek, and from eyes, ears, nose and mouth, bright red blood did slowly leak. And in trembling hand he held and outstretched a $50 bill and said, faced with red blood plastered, "Chip, you better buy a gun, you do, before you kill some stupid bastard." Thank you very much.
And it's not original, but it's something I learned when I was 7 years old. And it came as a result of my mother selling encyclopedias. Does anyone remember encyclopedias? Well, so did my mother. And she sold some children's encyclopedias by the name of Arthur Mee. Anybody heard of those? Wow. And I learned a little poem from those encyclopedias, and this is it. And it's called Little House of Mine. I wish that I had a little house, with a mat for the cat and a holding for the mouse, with a clock going tock in the corner of the room, and a kettle and a cupboard and a big birch broom. To school in the morning, the children off would run, so I'd give them a kiss and a penny and a bun. Directly they had gone from this little house of mine, I'd clap my hands and snatch a cloth and shine, shine, shine. I'd shine all the knives, all the plates, all the windows and the doors, all the grates, all the plates, all the handles on the doors, every fork, every spoon, every lid and every tin, till everything was shining like a bright new pin. At night by the fire when the children were in bed, I'd sit and then I'd knit with a cap upon my head. And the kettles and the cupboards, they would shine, shine, shine in this teeny little, weeny little house of mine.
The tune of the window, and who should be waiting there but Mary or Bess or somebody, the black-eyed daughter, the innkeeper's black-eyed daughter, plaiting a dark red number. Plaiting? What's a plait?
Plait.
Yeah.
That's a word you say when you can't say plait.
All right, plaiting a dark red lump in a long black hair. You see, look, anything from school?
Yes.
More than 4 lines. All right, no swear.
I love the sunlit country.
Have a look at you just sitting down there. God bless you all, just looking up and I'm not going to do...
Rapt attention. No one's eating. Why aren't you eating?
Anybody? Anybody know?
You're all here to be.
You got anything?
Names in the book. Names in the book, folks.
I'll do another one then. All right. This is Uncle Jimbo's dad, the death of Uncle Jimbo's dad.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Uncle Jimbo was... obviously I used to be English. I came over in 1965, and in 1965 I hung around at Earl's Court just so I'd get some Australian flavour, because in those days, anybody here old enough to remember when Earl's Court was called Kangaroo Alley? And it was full of Australians, and I was a little wizened pom, all dark and swarthy, and after a year of coming to Australia I turned blonde and beautiful, and I grew 6 inches, and at least 3 inches in height too. So this country's been extremely good for me, it was wonderful. And at the Pig and Whistle, which was in Soho, just the back of Soho, was the pub where all the West Australians, there was a New South Wales pub, there was a Tasmanian pub which was in Wales, because they didn't want them anywhere. Any Tasmanians here? Don't take it personally, you know, you can't help it. But, apart from all the rest of it, I'd go to the Pig and Whistle, which the Australians immediately changed to the pig's arse. Why wouldn't they? So, and there'd be conversations, you'd be walking down the street and say, right, see you down at Pig's Arse tonight. And all these bombs would turn and go, what's he talking about? What's that? So, that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Come up here, we do the Poms and Men to the Bushman's Arse.
Good.
Because it fit the competition. And it didn't matter who got up and did anything, but it had to be Australian song and poem. And this is where I met Uncle Jimbo. Uncle Jimbo doing this poem. He was a big man. He was about 6'8" in his solemn feet. He weighed 148 kilos fresh from the dummy. But we did examples, and we're talking 30 kilos. We did on the weight scales, in the cubicle, on the weight scales, 30 kilos. Fantastic. And best figure, but we just remember that one. That lady's grimacing just slightly over there, but it's dead true. It's dead true.
Is your husband like that, is he?
Anyhow, where were we? Uncle Jimbo. And he did this poem and won the competition. And he taught it to me later that night at the Leicester Square police station, as he spent about half an hour arm wrestling this is true, the entire station staff into letting us go. And they did. And we got off on a charge of mayhem. And they actually took us back to the club where we were having a fight at the time when they picked us up. But that was a long time ago. I'm sure you're interested in all that. You can see it, all right? Right, this is called the Pond Lament and the Bushman.
And I was out the other day checking out the fences down under Windy Way when I heard a sort of whining sound come floating up the creek. It started as a sobbing moan and ended as an eldritch shriek. It sent a shiver down my spine. I thought it was murder being done, so I raced off to the rescue. And I found blubbering under a gum a whining, wave-faced whacker, a pasty to and from, a complete and utter drongo, a whinging bloody pole. Listen to this.
Hurrah for good old England, we'll soon be going there. This hungry life and awful strife I can no longer bear. I'm fixed into the back blocks, I might as well be dead. A chap back was me pillow, and the ground me feather bed. And we lived on tea and dumper, and sometimes kangaroo. The time we were scorched to death and that time I'm frozen blue. But now at last I see some hope of getting from this hole. Hurrah! Hurrah! And hurrah for England, where they're dishing out the gold.
Oi, you're a whinging mother bastard. No bloody guts you got. I hope your bloody boat goes down and drowns the bloody lot. Since you've been out here in Aussie, you've done nothing else but moan. You're a bludging mother bastard, and you should have stayed at home. Furthermore, you thought you'd pick up sovereigns in our bloody flaming streets. You thought you'd pick up nuggets in our bloody blaming creeks. You thought you'd make your fortune after being here one day. Well, you're a bludging mother bastard, and it's time you're on your way.
Oh, you don't understand me. I just miss the green and rolling hills. I miss the summer rain. I miss my mummy and the Uncle Jim. I catch the morning train.
I love me sunburned country and I love me sweeping plains. I drink to your departure. You must be off your flaming brains, you bastard. Bastard.
And he went, bastard. With his hat until he was just careened off the stage with Darwin studies. Pretty right. There we are. Pumps the men to Western Town. This is Jane Candy. This was just one little poem this woman came up with.
The sun, the wind, the flies. Sorry, it's got a chorus. You've got to do the Australian salute every time I say the word fly.
Try it out. Come on, it's exhilarating doing this.
Flies.
That man down there in the pink shirt, you're wearing a pink shirt, you do it, mate, alright?
Flies.
Otherwise,
That's better. Yeah. The sun, the heat, the flies, the wind, the dust, the cries of crows, the bugs, the birds, the flies, the men, the women, the cries of workers, the snakes, the lizards, the flies, the hut, the machines, the cries of union, the north, the west, the flies, the wind, the dust, the cries of the pillar. That's it.
It's really good. So, this is it. And what I was doing, I was in a caravan out the back of Stan Sutton, shovel driver. The best job on the mine was the shovel driver. Stan Sutton, you go, here, Rods, it's a poem. And all these poems came flocking in, stuff like this. Up goes the shout, it's a poem. No, it's not just a poem, it is a poem. Up goes the shout, it's a poem. And they're asking for you, something to do about a poem or two. And I go, hello, who's this? And the conversation almost inevitably goes like this. Hello, is anyone there? Hello? Hello? G'day, my name's Jack Smith, I work on the hill. Your song collecting, I hear. You're such a dill. Pardon, I say, you talking to me? No, it's Mum and the kids, see. Look, I write this stuff. It's not very good. Kids kind of like it. It's not very good. Mum here says it's lovely, but it's not very good. And it's got a little tune too, and in retrospect, that's not very bloody good either. And, excuse me, I said, whatever you've done, I'd like to see it. So over they come. Tea's made with the small talk, no sign of the poems. The small talk gets smaller. Then the kid says, Dad, get on. It's not very good. He reluctantly drags a piece of paper from the pocket nearest his heart and scowls around at his family of dags. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, he mutters darkly. It's not very good. So his poem, you peruse in the company of studied nonchalant, 2 muted coughs and 10 carefully averted eyes. You read his poem through twice. It's only several lines. Well, it moves very nicely, it scans and it rhymes, and the imagery moves with a life of its own. The smiles light the afternoon, and the red dust settles from Jack's now still nervous mood. On to a new and potentially dangerous tack. Tell me, how's your recitation? Because for better delectation, it's better if the writer reads it out. It seems to have more feeling. It's true. He almost reads the ceiling.
I'll read it,
says his wife, as across her face a diplomatic smile chases a settled-down frown. And with another dark mutter, it's not very good. Jack subsides. The kids and me exchange a lifted eyebrow and a smile. Mum clears an obstruction in his throat. And then begins.
I haven't got away with words. Singing is for choirs and birds. But I remember Mother, as pale as Hamlet's father, after finding Dad in the garden on his side, as still as the pennies on a dead man's eye. She comforts Jane and me, sends the kids to the shops, calls the doctor, calls the cops, then said,
your dad had a soul whiter than an angel's thumb, and he's calling me already, and I'm more than ready for to come.
And she lay down by his side, took his hand in hers, squeezed it, till the veins in her hand stood out like Stilton shoes, closed her eyes, opened them, said,
please remember life's not terribly long. Stand by each other, help each other be strong. Stand by your kids so they may get up your nose. And remember life's short, and don't be morose.
And then with a sigh as hesitant as 1 o'clock half struck, the light left her eyes, but her love's never left our side.
You didn't like it, you bastard. I didn't think you would. Enter a car, you lot. I said it's no good than the slamming of doors, and they rocket off home. And that's why we're here, reading out Jack Smith's lovely poem.
Fairbridge cow, where are you? You're nowhere to be seen. I can't see you anywhere, but I can see where you've been. And those who are down the back paddock will know exactly what I was talking about there. I actually wrote this particular poem for someone's birthday, and she was a swimmer of great renown who swam over the rotten nest every day before breakfast, and I changed the name just in case I'm sued. The Ballad of Great Aunt Patricia and the Noah's Ark. Aunt Patricia, a swimmer of renown, is often seen round the town, in bathers, or more accurately at South Beach, and at least once a year at Longreach. For every year, to keep herself trim, she doffs her coffee and goes for a swim to Rottnest. For her, it's just a stroll through the surf and through the shoals, dodging whale, shark and cray, and in a very quick time makes Thompson's Bay. But this is a tale I need to tell when Pat beat off the shark from hell, chased it out of the Indian Sea and placed her name in history. For 1 year while doing the Rottnest lark, she was chanced upon by a great white shark who, looking for his Sunday lunch, thought Pat would be so good to munch. he headed for her with exposed dorsal, naught on his mind but a tasty morsel, his brain all full of nutrition chips. The very thought made him smack his lips. But our Pat is... Actually, that's a bit silly, isn't it? Because sharks don't have lips. But our Pat is made of quite stern stuff. The sight of those teeth got her acting rough. When that big fish made its first pass, she shoved her snorkel up its arse. This gave the knower a big surprise, the shock bringing tears to his eyes. He determined that it would be best to turn around and swim far west. Now way up there in the ocean deep, there's a shark who's made an evolutionary leap. He's smarter now, he's not so dumb, he can lie on his back and breathe through his bum.
I'm at Wallaby Bend myself and my mate Dan McLean. And whilst we was shearing, an old bushman friend wrote saying this farm was me. We finished the shearing, the flock was not big. Imagine our wrath and dismay when he goes to a sty and comes back with a pig and said, "This is all I can pay." We set off next day down the long dusty track in the blackest of humours, I fear. I carried the pig in a swag on my back and McLean trudged along with our gear. I talked as we journeyed, it lightened my load, and pointing out how we'd been robbed when we comes to a shanty by the side of the road, and I turned out my pockets and sobbed.
Cheer up,
Says McLean.
We'll drink and forget that old blighter back at the bend.
Said I in soft accents imbued with regret. Alas, we have nothing to spend. My comrade replied.
What a dullard you are. We'll drink and make merry in style.
And seizing the pig, he walked into the bar and ordered our drinks with a smile. Our host filled him up, went away with the pig, as though the affair was not strange. We'd scarcely had time our refreshments to sweet when he comes back with 10 piglets for change. We stayed at that shanty that night and next day. Good liquor was much cheaper then, and gladly rejoicing, we went on our way with a basket of eggs and a hen. Thank you very much.
Tonight I shall be talking about the subject of word association football. Now this is a technique out of living, much used in the practice makes perfect of psychoanalysis or another, and one which has occupied for the majority rule of my attentions, right by the right number 1, 2, 3, for the last 5 years. It is quite remarkable, back at Charlie, how much the Miller's Son is so-called while you're out word association immigrants' problems influences the manner from heaven in which we sleek at current terrorist species all Americans speak, the famous explorer. And the very well and surprising partner in crime is that a lot of his wife at the Lions feeding time, we may be CDE effectively quite unaware of the fact or fiction section of the Watford Public Library that we are even doing. It is a far, far better thing that I do now than what's going on, what Christian Barnard, the famous Hardy Piper, let us now praise famous metal homes felonies like me. And so on the button, my contention causing all the headaches is that unless we take into account of Monte Cristo and our Think in George V, this phenomenon on the other hand, we shall not be able to sleep at current terrorist species. No. It'll come back. We shall not be able to satisfactory fiction section of what the public library obviously going that we're even doing. It's a far, far better thing that I do now than what's going on, what Christian Barnard, the famous Hardy Piper that is now praised, famous mental students like me. I don't try to say that. And so on the button, my contention causal headaches is that as you can see, I wasn't quite prepared. Anyone can help? It'll come to me about lunchtime. I will finish this tomorrow morning.
It's quite short, you'll be glad to hear. It's called Ozymandias, and it's by Percy Bysshe Shelley. It's one of my favourite poems. Okay, here it goes. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Beneath them, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that it sculpted well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
Sometimes I wish I was a tramp. I'd travel around at the cost of a stamp. I'd live on the roofs of shopping centres. Other homeless people would be my mentors, with a city of dumpsters to fill my face, and all the time and every place. Cheap red wine and a warm paved street, a shirt on my back and bare rugged feet. Then again, I'd die alone, no one to love, no one to bone.
But not bad, live life to the very full, with the brain of a Billy Muggins and the body and temperament of a Brahman bull. And for 50 hours each week, 60 hours each week, 50 weeks each year, he'd slave over the same old piece of metalwork on a metalwork lathe. And every Saturday, as was his wont, a liquid lunch, a habit long since acquired. And it usually took 2 counter lunches and 12 pints of grog before Uncle Jimbo's mad dad retired into the afternoon sun, seeing snakes and double he'd blunder. "Oh, get out of me, why, I'm incredibly pissed!" He'd bellow and thunder, then chunder, lurching, skidding, mere missing gleeman and holding Ford fender. Uncle Jimbo's dad, in his brooding Huston terraplan out on the usual Saturday bender. "Oh, get out of me way, you drongos, I'm off to the MCG! Cartons to go! You're moving too slow!" Roars he in the hollow knees and the rest of his legs. "Get out of my way, you drongos!" Many other fathers face his blowouts as their totally implausible insurance policies rattled in the totally improbable glove box. Mothers clutched their knees and thought dolefully of having to have more children should the beltless bullets in the back suddenly flash before their eyes through the windscreen and beyond their ken. That's their dad's name, Ken. And for a short while they forgot to miss the buzz of the box. A wild swerve into the car park, clicked a puncture or two. "Oh, get up me bull bars, you bastards! Else I'll take umbrage with you!" And honking madly with laughter, he staggered through the stands and into the bar. A pint of grog, a goal is goal. And 19 goals later, they pour him into his car. And homeward bound, he dizzily rocks and he rolls to an empty house. Uncle Jimbo's mum had fled long ago. First stop the freaks to top up, to celebrate his team's valour and spunk. Mind you, even if they'd have lost, he still would have got fabulously drunk. And as he poured even more pure poison into his already shrunken brain, Uncle Jimbo's dad decided to get really pissed and watch the game on the TV again. Grunting his way into an armchair after first drawing the curtains against the late afternoon's early spring sun, he then savagely attacks the contents of a bottle of Bundy of rum, swiftly knocking back the fighting brew before evaporation won, lit the 58th fag of the day, violently coughed and actually hawked up one lung. "Oh shit," he said. "You know, life's just like a river. Whatever you put into it seems to end up in your liver." And with that cryptic and probably medically incorrect utterance, he tumbled gently to the floor. Uncle Jimbo's dad, mad but not bad, and his dying thought was, Jesus, Bundy rep's going to be sore. That's when Uncle Jimbo and his mates rocked in. They picked him up, tucked his lung back in, propped him in his chair, topped up his beer and rum, and the atmosphere around the box began to fairly hum. And he finished every drink, I swear, and then wound up once more upon the floor. And by now, we're pretty sure he'd soiled his trousers. So he just gently dragged him out the door. And then Barrett, twice as loud as in fond memory, we hoisted a pint of Uncle Jimbo's dad's bundy each in appreciation to the late his master's voice, his nickname at the footy. And then it was down to the pub for a funereal game of pool or two. And once again Uncle Jimbo charged the glasses to his dad. Bloody mad, mad but not bad, just bloody mad, clear through and flaming through. Blood oath, Ken oath. And they all drank again to his dead dad's health, bit silly that. And to his jibing and in his dash. They drank as much as the body was able. They actually ran out of cash and they went back and they swore up the grog for a whole week. They swore on the Holy Bible over the body of Uncle Jimbo's dad laid out on the kitchen table. By Christ, I missed the great loon, Uncle Jimbo crooned, and he slumped headlong to the floor and wept serious salt tears for his dad. Mad but not bad and stone dead at 34. Thank you very much. Thank you.
On the corner of a windy street, the arse end of your trousers incomplete. There's holes in your soles and your soul's in a hole. Feeling ugly and low, thoughts black as a crow. I'm lost, where are you, you bastards? Lost, lost, I'm bloody well lost. I'm lost, where are you bastards? Don't forget me down here while you're cruising up there. I'm lost, where are you bastards? They tell tales of union, of that strength by your side. With that kind of kinship you can stem any tide, but as dreams turn to dust and equality rusts, just consider us, just missing luck's bus. I'm lost, where are you bastards? And as factories falter and workshops run down, the artisan tumbles redundantly down. Apprentices are tossed on the scrap heap and lost. Love of labour is lost. Life loses its gloss. I'm lost. Where are you bastards? We should climb off our bums. We should open our eyes. We're drowning in bullshit and choking on lies. We're neglecting our own to catch the thrown bone. Here the bosses still moan. You're still peasants on loan. I'm lost. Where are you bastards? And as we're tossing about on the cruel ship of life, there's always one small mob that's seldom in strife. Taxing water and sunshine, sipping champagne and wine, howling, what's yours must be mine, but mine's definitely mine. We're lost. Where are you bastards? Lost, lost, we're bloody well lost. We're lost. Where are you bastards? Don't forget us down here while you're cruising up there. We're lost. Where are you bastards? So work as the world unite. Hey.
You've heard of redback spiders upon the toilet seat. Well, there are other perils that you are sure to meet. The other day at Gameri, when Toodaloo I strolled, I came across something scary living in the toilet bowl. At first I thought the caretaker had put a freshener in the bog, but when I had a closer look, it was a bloody big green frog. Well, I didn't want to pee on it, but I really needed to go. So I thought that if I flushed the loo, the frog would go with the flow. Well, it disappeared with one good flush, so I sat down with relief. But it wasn't long before I felt something on my right cheek. That bloody big green frog reached out one long and stretchy leg and clamped onto my bum with the suction caps on the bottom of his feet. Well, I moved my eye like an athlete and I leapt into the air. There's nothing like a big green frog to give you quite a scare. So when you're going to a bush toilet, especially at night, a bloody big green frog might lurk, so you'd better take a light, because they wait until you're comfortable to give you one hell of a frog.